everyone, and here is my take on some of the materials from class number 4. I will be using this embossing folder today, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink up on the folder first, and that way when I emboss, the embossing will all be white. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this plum jam. Now I was going to use the ink that is in the kit, but the colors really didn't match the paper I'm going to use, so I went ahead and grabbed plum jam. And this is the water reactive, and I am going to find the smooth side of this embossing folder. And remember, this embossing folder is 4x6, and I am going to ink all over this. And I want to make sure I don't have any weird lines in here, so I'm just going to rub it all over like this. Okay, now on the raised edge, I'm going to put my paper like this. I'm going to carefully close it. And now I'm going to run this through my machine. Alright, let's reveal this and see what it looks like. So when we open this up, we end up with all the color, but the cream colored paper still shows through with the embossing. It gives you a really kind of cool effect. So let's put this to the side. And let's start constructing our card. So for this card, I have a 5x7 card base. And I have some pieces I'm going to put on the inside, and we'll talk about that when we get to that point. But for the front, I want to cut a hole in this so I can put this as a frame. So what I have here is I have 2 nesting dies that I have they're in order here. And I cut out the frame, and I'm going to use that for the front of the card. But to cut my hole, I want to cut out the smaller of the 2 nesting dies that I used here. Move the ink out of the way here. So I'm going to take my card. Now this one is 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, and this paper is from Floral Fantasy. And I'm going to put this in the middle here. I'm going to grab some tape. Make sure we're in the middle. I'm going to put a piece here and a piece here so this stays put. That's not exactly in the middle. You move it down just a tad. That looks a little bit better. And I will run this through my machine. Alright, so let's pull this off and save this for something else. Alright, so now I have a hole cut with this one, and this was the one size bigger that I had together that made my frame. So now my frame will fit right over this hole and everything will be covered, just like that. So let me glue this down. Let me decide which side I like better. I like that side better, so I'm going to put glue on this side. And I'm just going to go all the way around with tacky glue. I spread that out a little bit. Alright. Ease this into place. Let me just slide it around a little bit till it's all matched up. There we go. Just like that. Yep. So there we go. So just remember, cut the hole out of the smaller one and you use the 2 together to make the frame. But always cut your hole in the smaller one. Alright, so this is going to go underneath here like this. But I do want to put some foam here, and I'm going to use some thicker foam. I'm going to use the 1/8 inch thick foam that you would use for a shaker card. And that's just because I just want a little bit more distance here. So let me grab my scissors and make sure I'm putting tape on the correct side. Now we're not putting any shaker bits or anything in here, so we really just need to support the sides like that. I'm going to put one here in the corner, one in this corner, put some here and here. That's really close. Let's move that over a little bit. And just another piece right here. Now before I glue this down, I have a happy birthday for the front of the card. And let me make sure it's going to fit on here okay. Yep, it'll be fine. Alright, so I'm going to, let's see, I think the easiest way to do this. Yep, I'm going to do it that way. So I'm going to peel all this backing off. I need a little bit more right here because I don't want that to get saggy. So I'll just cut that in half, put that there. Now let's decide which way I want this to go. I think I want it to go that way. So I'm going to take this and center it so I have this pictured the way I want. Now this is 4 by 6. And this was 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. So I'm not in any danger of having it hanging over. I just want to make sure my flowers are centered the way I want them. I think about here is good. So now I still have some of the foam on the outside, but that's fine because that's what's going to go on the front of the card here. So this paper here is 5 by 7. So it is 10 by 7. Scored at 5, and this was some hunky-dory paper from a couple years ago. Might have even been like 4 years ago, and I am just trying to use up my stash, so I am going to use this paper here. That was one of the things I promised myself this year, is I was going to use the paper and things I have hanging around. So let me look here. And I think I want to put it this way. Now this card is 5 by 7, and this is 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. So that's just going to have a little border around. I'm going to turn this sideways so I can see a little bit more of the card. And I think about there. There. So you can see this card goes together pretty quickly. I'm going to push down in the middle, make sure it's all stuck to the front of the card. So now we have that as a front. Just like that. So at this point you can decide if you want it to be landscape or portrait. And I think I'm going to keep it portrait. So now I need to decide what I want to do with the happy birthday. So I know I want to color this background, because what I do is I'll cut out whole sheets of sentiments like this with shadows, and then I just color them when I go to make my cards. So since I used plum jam on the inside here, I'm going to color that in plum jam. At least I think so. Let me see something first. Do I want to put the happy birthday down here, or do I want to put it in the middle? Now if I put this in the middle, I probably want to use a different color. Oh, so let's decide here. Or I want to put the happy birthday this way. I think I'm going to keep it down at the bottom, which was my original plan. So let me color this. So I'm just going to bring in a piece of scrap, and I'm just going to bring in the plum jam, and I'm just going to put some color on it. It doesn't have to be even. It doesn't have to be the same. I just want some color. And sometimes when you just drag it on here, you get scrapes based on the grain of the paper, because paper does have grain just like wood, and you get some, you know, different little effects. So I think I'm just going to leave it like that. Yeah, see, that looks kind of cool when you put that on there. Okay. Now, there is no white in this card, so now I'm deciding if I want to leave this as white. And I'm thinking I don't. So I'm just going to grab my blending brush that I know has some brown on it. Nope, that is not what I want to color. And I'm just going to go over this with whatever brown is left in here, just to remove the white. There we go. Just take a little bit of white out. So now I'm going to take 1/16 foam that is a 1/4 inch wide, and I'm going to put the happy birthday on this. So I'm going to put some on this side. Let me grab hold of this. And put some on this side. Because it gets a little skinny in the middle, and so I can't put foam right there in the middle part, because it will show. Let's see here. I think just like that. Do I want to bring it up higher? I'll leave it down here. Alright, let me grab one other thing. So I have a couple flowers left from class number 3, and I'm wondering if I want to put some flowers on here. Let's see here. If I put a big one up here, how about if I put 2 little ones up here? Here, let me trim these little ends off first. Because I didn't put these together with hot glue, I used regular glue. Because I'm down here in Florida where it gets very hot. And I've had hot glue melt to me a few times when I've had my cards outside at a market. So I try to stay away from hot glue. So let's see, if I put those here, and then move this over to the side a little bit. Yeah, 3 flowers is too many. And then I'll put a couple gems. I think that's what I'll do. So let me trim this down as close as I dare. I'll trim this a little bit more. That will give me 3 items on the front of the card. Now I'm going to glue this one down pretty good. And I'm just going to push it down, and I am going to hold it for a second. Give my tacky glue a chance to grab. There we go. Oh, there we go. That will straighten the petal out. There we go. Now I'll put some glue on this one. And I'm just going to put an extra little dab of glue in here. A little more over here. And push that down for a second. And we'll just have to give this a minute to dry. There we go. And then once they're dried on there, I can fluff them up a little bit. Alright, let me turn this upside down so this is a little closer to me. There we go. If I wasn't recording this, I'd have that a little closer. So now this can come down here. And I think I'm going to use the 1/16 foam again. Now I'm still okay with that because I used 1/8, then 1/16 and another 1/16, so that is just 1/4 of an inch. So I'm still okay as far as the post office is concerned. Let's see if this is going to go over here. And then I'm going to put some gems on it, and then we'll work on the inside. I think just like that. There we go. Now the gems, I can either use this color here or this green. Both colors would go with this card. So now I'm trying to decide what color I want to use. I'm thinking I want to use the red. I'm thinking a medium and 2 small in this corner and this corner. I think is what I want to do. So we'll do a medium and then 2 small. Let me get that over there. And these gems came from one of the subscription boxes. Maybe I want 3 medium. You know what? I think I'm going to go with 3 medium. Okay, if they would not stick to my hand. Okay. Well, I'm going to move this one a little bit. I'm going to wipe that glue off. Put it here and over here. Spread it out a little bit more. Alright, gems. You know, I probably should have used my pickup tool. Now that none of these are where they started off being, they do not want to stick to this paper. This paper does have a coating on it. Alright, I may have to use a different glue. Let's see if that dries. And I'll put 3 on this side. I think the top here is going to have 3 small ones because that's all I have left. Unless I put the green on the top. Let's see. I think I will put green on the top. Oh, look how much easier that is when you use the right tool for the job. Now the question is, are these sticking? Nope, those are sticking. So I need another green. There we are. So now the front's all done. So let's talk about the inside. Put this all to the side. Let's open this up. Now I have a 3x5, a 3 1/8, no, a 3 1/4 by 5 1/4, and then I have a 4x6 that I'm going to use on the inside. And I also cut one strip that is 1/4 of an inch by 7 that I'm also going to use inside the card. So what I'm going to do, and this inside says, "Happy birthday, just like flowers bring color to the world, you bring light to the lives of everyone around you. Wishing you a day full of blooming happiness." And I am going to glue this to the cream colored paper. Like that. Now Now what I want to do to make it match the front is I am going to go over with my brush again, that I still have not put any more ink on it. I'm just using the brown that's on here just to take out the white a little bit. Alright, so now what I want to do is I'm going to put this in the middle, the 4x6. And once again, this is from Floral Fantasy from a couple years ago. This is going to go in the middle. I will take the strip, and this is going to go about here, I think. And then this is going to go on top. So that's going to look like that. Maybe bring it over a little bit more. Probably about a third. You probably want to bring a little strip like that over about a third of what you're putting in on the top here. So I think about here. So about here on this leaf here is where I'm headed. So let me put some glue on the back of this. And this is just a little piece I trimmed off from my card base from the Hunky Dory paper. So I'm going to put this about here. And I cut this to 1/4 by 7. And that is going to go the length of the card. Then this will go on top. Get a strip along here so my edges don't come up. This will go in the middle, just like that. And now let me give everything a good press down. Alright. So here we go. The flowers should be getting nice and dry by now. I have some gems. Just inked the embossing folder on the colored paper. Then the inside. Now this isn't the only other card I made. I also made this card. But when I recorded this one, the video did not come out. So I went ahead and made another card. So this one was a thank you card. But it was the same thing. I inked on the inside. I just inked it a little bit lighter. And put some flowers. So there's lots of things you can do. And that just made this one an easel card. So I hope you enjoyed this card and my take on the materials from class number 4. And hope you consider subscribing to my channel because I do have cards every week. And until next time, stay crafty.